Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Dream Labs with Dr. Contrast Live here. Just a lot of fun. I just wrapped up on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, a really fun illustration on the Porsche 911 Targa. Interesting machine, and a lot of responses on the channel. So thanks very much for some of the impact and the input coming back to that program. And as a result of that, I thought it'd be kind of fun to go back and I went back into the archives and looked at this whole thing about Cadillac's advanced processing work, getting into some of the new Blackwing studies and some of the stretch platforms and the LYRIQ and so forth. The reason I brought this up to go back and do a little bit of histrionics with it was simply that I have a former student now who is the director of Cadillac Global Operations, and really a talented individual. I've known him for years, and really interesting individual. We started tracking some time ago about what this whole process of the new platform series that Cadillac is offering now, since they're going a lot of electric, but they're going to have two variations on some of the CTS platforms that are going to remain reciprocating, and that's going to be okay. That's fine. But also, I think we had a lot of conversation about this whole idea about the shooting brake. I mean, this concept of a wagon series being so much a different crossover setup for Cadillac. Interesting conversation. And I think hopefully, and from his point of view, with the new series coming along, there might be a generation coming along the next 2 to 3 seasons and years, production-wise, to begin to see this CTS, the shooting brake process, come back into life. It's a very interesting platform. I almost refer to it, whenever I see one on the road, it refers to like a Batmobile. It's got those very high tail lamps, very stealthy looking geometric shear math and science organization about it. The interesting thing. So I pulled this guy out of file some time ago, thinking, it's a pretty crude set of real rough Prismacolor pencil, a little bit of pastel added sketches, just to kind of put some flavor together. Notice a much lower profile in this rear 3/4 elevation. Kind of lit it up a bit here. It looks the front 3/4, just a little bit more aggressiveness in the front end character of the machine. And we're talking about here today the CTS shooting brake. And then this elevation study started to provoke some emotion about maybe we stretch it a little bit and lift the roof line and get a lot more aggressive with some of the body side graphics as opposed to just being sheer with a belt line chamfer across from front to rear, for example, belt line coming from here to here. The current product has a little bit of a belt line chamfer series to it. So, and again, not as aggressive a front end. This is a much more tuned in, not a great study, but again, get more idea of what that whole generation can begin to look like as we go down the line. So I started there, and again, very intriguing platform to deal with. The Cadillac has done a tremendous job of maintaining that very solid identity on the marketplace about being the only one that has a real sheer, almost stealth-like character to it. But they're getting more and more refined with that process. If you look at the upper level sedan series now, much more sophisticated, very competitive, and doing a nice job of engine systems, maintenance, fuel economy, and overall comfort levels, and getting some great rave reviews on the marketplace. So all that to say that I think I'm going to spend some time here today based on these series of sketches. I went back and looked at them and said, what if we kind of refined some things? And what if you took advantage of this elevation here and stretched it a little bit more, and then got a little more aggressive with some of the beltline work and changed some of the character of the body graphics down below. So hang on, this is where we were here, and I just jumped ahead to this. And this is where we're going to start here today. This is what I refer to as almost like a next generation of shooting brake series. And again, notice a lot more stealth-like, a lot slimmer, a lot more low profile, much more compact in terms of look, and a little more aggressive looking in some of the shapes and body forms along the line here. So let's go back and begin to look at, let's stay in some of the things here we're going to look at here. And just for what it's worth, let's get the body graphics in place here. Let's kind of get the glass started here. We're just going to start, knock out some of the high contrast areas here. Let's go back in, and I'll be very lucid here. I don't want to spend a lot of time doing a very finished. It's more of a concept study here. And if it comes across okay, we might build on this guy for future streams and so forth. Just want to build it in. I'm working with obviously tone paper and the Copic marker, and just a great combination. Tone paper to me is extremely powerful because what it teaches you to do is really dwell on getting the middle ground established and the highlight going north and the shadow going south. What I mean by that is this, that this paper surface represents middle ground. And notice on a neutral surface, we have to create that middle ground, and that neutral aspect of maybe middle grays, middle reds, whatever the color of the machine might be. That's the middle ground. But tone paper covers that for you. It's already there. The middle ground is established. And what I'm going to work on today is going to highlight and shadow and really get this thing to really kind of jump and push for us here. So that's a simple explanation of what tone paper does. So let's kind of fill it in here. Go back in. Just get a lot nice blend into it. I think one of the nice things about tone as well is you overbuild it and you keep building into it and you come right back down to it and it just saves it. To notice that marker, this is number 5 cool gray. Notice how it just kind of it tones in a little bit and gets a little bit softer. So let's get some of the wheel graphics out of the way here, and not much to worry. We're going to come back and pick up some of this stuff in here. It's going to get this in place. I'm going to go a little deeper with that. That's going to be dark enough here. Let's go this route. Let's go back in. Get a little more impact in this beauty here. Get some of the high contrast areas out of the way. Just fill it all in. Pardon me as I'm moving this around just a bit here to kind of get the wheel in place. Get the graphics down. Just kind of fill in the perimeter. Back in again. Just quickly stain it all in. Notice, I'm not going to pay a lot of attention yet to detail. I'm going to come right back in and just get some of the high contrast areas in place. So we need to build the armature of getting a little more highlight into it and a lot more contrast. So that'll all come together here in just a few moments. Just kind of building the foundation here now. One more time, just to kind of restain it. Same thing up front. A lot more animation, just really quick, very expressive, trying to maintain the character of this machine. So there we are there. Come back in here, pick up the front end piece. And what we'll do here is slowly but surely begin to use marker, get the hard points in place, and come back in with a little bit of pastel to kind of pick up some drama and a little bit of pastel both in the negative side, charcoals and grays, and also getting a lot more impact. And let's get this glass out of the way, the backlight here. Let's get the backlight in place. Very geometric, straight, sheer backlight process here. We'll tone it in initially, and come back and pick up a lot of reflected light on this piece. There we go. Little by little, all the little bits and pieces starting to come together here. And I think what I'll do here, the wheels are kind of drop them out a little bit more. Let's get a little more impact in this thing. Just a little deeper. Yeah, let's get this down. So I can always come back to highlight with this stuff. This is better. Much bolder. Let's turn this around a little bit to get that radius in place here so I don't get into the body form yet. I'm going to lay in a lot more impact from this point of view into the wheel graphics and let the rest of this guy just come along with some real soft pastel systems. Kind of put a lot of drama in this thing. Let's fill this in. Put that all together. It's to stain it in. Come back inside that recess in the wheel itself. Now let's go to this backside glass. Let's get this graphic in place here. It's a little reflected light back here. Let's put a little horizon line in this guy. A little shadow in the rearview mirror. And again, let's get these wheels just to knock them out a little bit more. They're not deep enough. Kind of really drop almost like they disappear here. So notice really kind of fresh, simple, spontaneous, high contrast. Again, that's one of the neat things about tone paper. It's that high contrast, or that drama, the drama between light and dark that really kind of pulls this thing off. This gives it a whole different presence to itself. So bit by bit here, we're starting to block this thing in. Let's go back and let's drop this down a little further. Now when I go a little deeper with this guy, and let's get some of that reflected light back in through here. And again, let's get this all set. Yeah, that's much better. A little bolder. Get some graphics and reflected light back in through here. Same thing in the horizon line, a little deeper. Notice how it dries very lightly. Looks like a very dangerous color when you go into it, but when you stain it and you let it dry, all of a sudden it just tones back just enough and kind of melds into the paper itself. Gives you a little bit more impact to work with here. One more time. Graphics at the top of this thing here. Get that center line to split it. There's little things like this, for example, the little area there. What I'm doing is picking up some of the things in the environment that might be reflecting back into the glass itself. So let's go back in one more time, and I'm going to do the same. Let's go a little deeper yet. Into almost a dark black. Since that's kind of running out of juice a little bit, let's replace it just a bit here. Pardon me. Let's see if we can get a fresher one here. More horizon line in it. I'm just building this, what is referred to now is I'm just kind of building the substrate. Substrate means a platform. It's all this high contrast is going to sit on. Let's get a little more shadow on that guy. Let's take this thing and go a little further with this thing. Come inside the rim. Sketch a little bit of that recess in place. Take it down a bit. And it comes into the light source. Let's kind of band it out here just a little bit more. There you go. There she goes, slowly but surely coming together. Now we're going to go back into this side here with this. Let's get this thing reversed itself here. Again, same deep rim. Coming around into light source. Then we kind of release it just a bit here. There we are. That looks pretty good. Coming along all right here. A little bit of shadow underneath this overhang here in the backlight. A little more shadow in here in the backlight and the overhang. A little bit more impact here. Oops, let's do this. Bit of ventilation here. Let's get this ventilation in place across the header and the upper. So we start to put those little pieces together here. Let's come back and get a little more impact in this high contrast shadow area here. Let's do this. Really knock that out of there. Now you notice there's a bit more of a little bit of a reverse in the actual process itself. The actual process of, you know, it comes down, breaks flat, comes into a negative, and then back into just a sloped surface back here again. So there we are there. Let me just kind of clean this up for a moment here. Pardon me. A bit more inclusive there with this guy. And while I'm at it, let's kind of put in some of these little diffusers, so the actual brake, actual wheel details, just to kind of get it started here. Some of the rim areas here, just kind of knock that up. Come back in with a little bit of pencil work and pick up the rest. So let's kind of pick up some of the detail now in the wheel system itself. Pretty cool. Let's come back in again, do the same thing here. Going to catch just enough of this, one right there, and one about right there. And we'll come back and pick up a highlight later. So now we've got a pretty good armature set there. Oh, one last thing. I'm going to do this too. I'm going to make sure we get this guy. Let's kind of flood this in. Let's get this rear deck area set up here. Disappear in the lamp graphic behind it. And for what it's worth, let's see if we can kind of get some of that number 6 gray to kind of come through for us here. Tone this back. A little bit of reflected light coming off of that guy. Let's see if we get a little bit bolder. Let's get this guy down here just a touch more drop off. There it is. That's better, stronger. A little bit of reverse here. Go back in the tail section, down to that portion. There it is. Coming across nicely here. Across that reverse kick. Nice about the tone again. You know, notice how we're really pushing Darkest darks like the lightest lights. I mean, look how that those surfaces are starting to all come together now for us here. And with that thought in mind, let's go back one more time, restain this. Not a problem. What we've lost in highlight, we'll come back and pick up with a pastel and some pencil. Let's take this around the bend here. Pardon me again as I rotate the pad just a bit, the paper just to kind of knock that tire out of, again, get that more depth into that rim, or the actual tire itself, pardon me. Take that in the shadow area and just curl it right back into the ground shadow. There we are. And one more time up front. No more tone. It's not the light sources. Let's knock that out where that's coming from. There it is. Comes across here. Notice I'm working very, very quick and very fluidly here. Just kind of maintain the character of the machine and not get a lot of fussiness in terms yet of putting it all together, pieces by pieces, and we'll bring that to light here in a few moments as we go here. So interesting though, let's put a little scallop back in through this thing here. Let's do this, get this lighter gray almost up on top. Let's get this little rear deck lighting. Well, I have that. Let's get this little rail in place here. Little side rail. Into that. Let's get this front end there. Let's get this front character. Let's start to build the shapes out of this beauty here. I'm going to go back in and a little bit of this. Now, I'm going to stop here just for a moment and let's pick up them. Let's get that, see what that looks like here as far as contrast goes. See how much that, a little skip comes out. And let's go back in through here and get that lower piece to kind of read in for us here. What did I do with that? That's at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Starts number 6 gray. Oop. Let's do this. Kind of rejuice this guy a little bit here. Let's put a bit of core in this thing here. Do I want to go highlight in the shadow? Yeah, let's do this. Let's go core here. A bit of marker base. So there it is. So put a little bit of core together now. Interesting here, isn't it, guys? It's cool, cool, cool. So that's that there. Let's put a little of this highlight up on top of this thing now. Let's start putting a little bit more of this punch into this thing here. Not to worry. Let that kind of blend right back in here. I'll get a little bit of Weebro pad and begin to play that in. It's that combination to kind of work for us here. There's a little core line comes underneath here. It just comes back into that scallop area, and it comes down to this. Let's blend this just a bit. Let's do this. Let's kind of blend this in just a little bit. So we can kind of walk that through that little highlight area there. More intrigue across the upper. Again, through here. Spot. That drama on through and just blend it just a bit more right where it needs to be. Again, back in the upper. Blend that out just a bit more. Little by little, it's coming together, gang. There you are. What do you think? How you doing, Shadow? Good to have you on board, man. Looks like you're the Lone Ranger today, so thanks for tuning in. That's great. Yeah, this is going to be a fun program here. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to go back and revisit the Shooting Brake series here, see what we can come up with here. And I'm going to go back and I'll put a more highlight. Let's put a little more highlight in this thing so we can not so drab. It comes out right here. Let's kind of blend this in. Get that where that shoulder works right in through there. Yeah, that's looking better. A little bit more marker base in this thing here. Let's see where I'm at. 7. There we are. Number 7. There it is. Let's go back and get that lighter gray here. So I get number 6 gray here. Kind of rejuice it. See what happens here, hopefully. All right, so that's kind of dying on me there. So let's kind of go back and let's just push the whole tail section into place here. Let's go back into that. Really make this thing a statement. Let's do this. There we go. There we should sort of step out a little bit. Now let's go back in and get this guy. Kind of read for us a little bit. All right, there's the graphics coming together pretty nicely there, gang. What do you think? There it is, just overall. Let's need a little bit more tone in this thing. Let's put a little more shadow in this offset here. Really make this thing sing. That's better. A lot bolder. There it is. Here we go here. It's going to get this, bit of this shadow to work here. That form to read in there. Take a little bit of an eraser, kind of get some of that back here. Still a little bit of highlight back into here to kind of bring a little bit of drama to it, and then just repeat it up front here just a bit and begin to put this thing together. All of a sudden start to really move through space here. What do you think, guys? I'm wrong, all right? Let's put more highlight back into this sponson here. That's what that's going to do. Look, that's going to look like that. That's going to come back in and pick up a little bit of highlight here. And again, just a touch right back in there. And I think we've got it. And again, that's now. And just slow that down for a minute. Let's take a look at what we've got here. A little bit of an assessment. Graphics. What do you think, gang? So far, so good. What we could do, while I'm at it here, I'm going to come right back in with a little bit more. This is a little more impact in this rim system. Let's go kind of really make this thing a statement. That's stronger. A little bolder underneath here. Reflection of that little body form coming out of this guy. Big process here. Just really getting a lot of high contrast graphics now. So far, so good. There's some of the material coming together here. What do you think, gang? Oh, now we're gonna have some fun with this. This is the fun part. I'm gonna come back in now and put a little bit of definition. Now, first of all, let's do this. Let's get that out of the way. Let's get that down. Let's get that back a little bit here. See if I can get that to kind of clean up a little bit. Where's that fine eraser here? Let's kind of put a little bit of hot spot right in there. Let's get this guy to curl a little bit more. And again, it's a little more shadow right down here. And again, up and through here. Just keep blending it in. There we are. It's got it. Yeah, it's coming together nicely. Just a little bit of a return on that beauty, and I think a really big help here to kind of the more guts into this thing. So let's go back and we'll kind of finish things up here as we go. Now, this is the fun part. We're going to come back in here, and let me get my cover sheet. What did I do with it? Oh, it's over there. Okay, so here we are. Lost the lid here. Sharpen this beauty up a bit. Pick up that very infamous, really bold lamping graphic. I got the tail section of this thing. Oh, let's see if I can get rid of that. A little bit of dust. There it is. Turn this upside down and get the rest of this piece put in place. The other side, fade just a bit here. I'll get this to you in a moment here, gang. Sorry. A little bit of that shoulder. Let's bring it back up to normal. And bring it over the top of the header. There it is. Notice how that one side kind of fades a little bit more, and it just kind of tunes it a little bit more. So there we are. Just put a little bit of badge graphics there. A little bit of hot spot on this guy, just to kind of tell us that we are. A little bit of hot spot on the handle graphic here. Just there it is there. There it is there. Just getting a little bit of highlight on that there. There it is. Highlight back in through here. Let's get that. Let's get that ventilation system back in place here. So upper level 2, 3, 4. And there you go. Coming along, gang. There she is. So far, so good. Coming nicely here. Let's get a little bit of this, bit of reflected light back into this guy. What we lost there, it's going to bring back in. Number 8. There it is. That's that shadow, so we'll pull that back into play here. There it is. And a little bit more finesse in this guy. Let's see if we kind of get some more hot spot in this thing to kind of just blend it nicely here. And there we are, coming along there, guys. There she is. little shooting brake coming nicely together here. Just got a little scutcheon inside this lamping graphic here. Let's do this. There it is there. Let's put a little bit of tone in this thing. Just kind of take it underneath the shadow area there to kind of tell you where the section change is. And just a touch of a highlight coming through it. Get that bezel in place. So there she is, gang. What do you think? Come along all right? There she be. A little bit of the GT. Now let's go back in and get some of the finesse on this tire system here. See what we've got here. Sorry for the silence. We're going to just concentrate on getting some of the graphics down here. Then we're going to go back in and clean up some things with some eraser. And we should about be home. Now, let's take this little time here to finesse some of this stuff here. And one last pass here. Sorry for the silence here, guys. What do you think? Is it coming along all right? What do you think there, guys? Let's see. Roshan, I'm sorry, I haven't paid attention. Did it increase? You missed it. There's a question above. Oh, yeah, I did miss it. Oh, sorry about, what is that? Did you repeat that question again, please, Demetrius? I'm sorry. I missed it. I was just concentrating getting this thing done here. I'm sorry. I missed your call or your question. Sorry. Canada's already pushed. How regulation of the cars have all lights on the daytime. Right. Demetrius, okay. CCAD. Was wondering, some of the cars nowadays and night do not have their rear lights on, which I think is dangerous. Is that a new design element? No, not really. I think it's just a matter of economizing some of the electronics and so forth, Demetrius. I'm not quite sure what that statute is, but there's regulations for all lights on all the time. You're right, Shadow. I think that's the thing we're looking at here to get things done. So I think that's going to be part of the process as we go here. So I'm sorry I missed your call there, Demetrius. And by the way, thank you for joining us. Really cool. To have you on board. So this is a little exercise on some shooting brake stuff that we've been looking at for the last few sessions. And here we are trying to wrap it up here. So let me just go back in and kind of separate some of this stuff here. And there's a little more definition in some of those wheels. What do you think there, guys? They're coming together all right? It's making sense? Interesting little form study here. Just again, that shooting brake to series to me has always been unique. Question, Demetrius here. I mean, I miss any more here, Shadow? Hey, thanks for tracking me up there, Chief. I really appreciate it. Notice, there we are. Let's kind of clean things up here a little bit here. And we'll come back and put a little more shadow down here. Kind of beef that up a bit. While I'm at it, just kind of clean things up just a touch here. I think that's got some pretty interesting presence about it. I mean, it has a Cadillac nomenclature, a little bit with the spooky side rear view systems here they're kind of working with. Didn't want to push too far with that. Oh, I need to add this. Didn't want to push too far with a lot of the electronic sides and some of the really interesting graphics and so forth. But I think it has that character that's coming along the line here with this new generation of the Cadillac systems we're working with here. So let's kind of go back and add a little bit of finesse as we go here. Here we go. We'll put a little more hot spot in some of these guys to show you there's a little bit of rim system in there, just a touch. There it is there. And again here, there, cheat the little daylights out of the light system there. But let's add this. Let's get these guys to kind of come in and cook here. Let's see, there's going to be a little bit of a pillar line here, a little bit of a door handle system here. Let's kind of get this kind of coming back in. There it is. Into that bevel, into that brake. And again, back here to the rear section here. Just going to bring this into play over the brake, into that surface there. There it is. There's entry. Let's put more impact in that glass down here. It's just going to fill that in so it's going to really nice, rich, dark black. That's better. Yeah, I'm missing here just a touch more of this drop behind the that offset here in the rear quarter area. Let's see if we get the right. Yeah, here we go. Let's get this one more time. Let's get this guy to kick a little bit more for us here if we get this thing to work. And there it is. Just a touch more. Put that shadow into play. And just a touch more of this. A little bit of detail work up on top here. The Cadillac nomenclature. There it is. Touch that. Just a bit more here. And I think that just about does it there, guys. I don't push any further. I think the impact of that sketch is pretty strong in terms of notation and delineation of what we're after. So let's try this. Let's kind of put a little bit more punch in this. Shadow area here. A real rich black here. That's better. A little more impact in it here. There you go. It's darker, much stronger. That helps. Let's get this to be a little more romantic here. More graphics in this guy. Let me turn this upside down for a moment here. Sweep the read right coming off that tire in behind it. And in the shadow here. Bring this back. Thank you for your patience. There should be, Demetrius, when you put marker down and it gets saturated, do you ever have an issue with tearing the? No, not really, Demetrius. I saturate it, just kind of takes it, I just let it soak a little bit and I come back in and pick it up again. And really not interesting here at all as far as tearing things up or getting kind of scuffy with the whole process. It just maintains itself pretty nicely here. So not a problem here. Down again, pardon me. Let's sweep the read right. And again, out of it, and then right back into the baseline here. So there you are, guys. There's a kind of very quick and dirty kind of look at getting some interesting things done with the shooting brake series here. Hope that helps. Yeah, I think it does. I hope it does too, Demetrius. So here we go. So all that to say, let's do this. Let's try something here and kind of wrap this thing up a little bit. Pardon me for moving around here, but let's do this. Let's see if we can put a little bit of impact in the background here. Go that way. just want to lead you into some of the stuff here. That kind of taping this material off really helps. A little bit of a guideline to work with here to kind of lay in some pastel, some backdrop into this thing. Do that. So where am I? There it is. I'm going to take it a little step further here. There I am. Okay, so let's go back. Let's start a little bit. Let's get a cover sheet here. Pardon me. Do all this. Get all this out of the way. Pick a bit of a cover sheet. Protect some of the information we're dealing with here. Let's go back into this. Let me reverse this. Use that as a mask here to kind of help me through the top of the vehicle. And not to muddy it up when we've got started. And by the way, before I do that, there's a little bit of a misstep here. Let's get that guy to come down just a bit and then get that sweep through it. There it is. Just read that form coming up and out of there nicely. So here we go. Let me get back to square one. Add some of this as we go through it. A little bit of that. And a little bit of this. And in addition to that, a little bit of this. And we'll add this. And just to make it a little more dramatic here, let me grab something here. It's dark black. Some real impact behind this machine here. It's going to get that kind of read here. Let's do this. And by hand. Get that corner read for us here. Now come back in a little more animation and some of this color. And for what it's worth, let's come back in and pick up some of that. Just a touch more red. And just let that explode out of there. Here we are, sports fans. Let's see what that does here. Get my hands cleaned up. That's half the battle. All right. Let's see what we do here. Let's kind of get this guy lined up here. Get my eraser out and bring this thing back to some sense of normalcy here. Get some of this color out of the way. Pick up a little bit more of that highlight across the top of that sponson here. Cadillac graphic. But we'll also kind of pick back up just a bit. And last but not least, just kind of pull this off just a bit more. Let's see what we've got here. And we'll kind of wrap it up here. So I'm just about ready to get there, guys. So thanks for your patience. So far, so good. There is a little study here in the next generation, hopefully, of the Cadillac CTS shooting brake series. And they've got to bring something back like this. It's really kind of a neat machine to work with. Very interesting process to settle into. And hopefully this has been of some help to you throughout the course of the day. And so where am I here? Might want to come back down here and just, let's see what that does. I'm just going to get this all lined up here. There it is. There's one. There's two. And let's get the third one out of the way here. There it is. Now a little bit of homework here and cleanup time. Get this guy to kind of crank that for us here. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. And we'll turn it around here. Let's see what we've got here. A little bit of a dust over this. Let's get that line cleaned up here. And another time, another shot at putting this thing together. And last but not least, let me see, I'll be the guilty party here. So let me make sure we get this thing signed, sealed, and delivered. That's that. And any more smudge marks here? I can't clean those up a little bit later. I might add a little bit of temper to this thing as we kind of wrap things up. But that's it, gang. There, we started here. A little bit of the shooting brake story. That's where we started. Right there. Get back to some history. When you put marker down, hope that helps. Yes, they do. We need some more CTVs. Yeah, interesting process here. So that's where we started. Went back in histrionics. Looked back at it again and said, maybe there's something here to kind of take this into the next generation of the shooting brake CTS platform. So from that series, I went into that little line drawing ahead of time here. Let's kind of line this beauty up here for final designation. There we are with the actual machine itself. A little more shooting brake and emphasis. Some of the same character in the backlight, but let me do this. I'm really not quite pleased with this. Where am I? Number 5 gray, somewhere in here. There it is. Let's get this shadowed a little bit more. Run that right through. There it is. There it is. That helps. Drop that surface back just a bit. There we are. So that's it for the day, gang. I really appreciate those of you who tuned in. Shadow, that hood is so big it could house it. Yeah, it could have V12. Yeah, she's a big one there. No question about that, V12. So let's kind of bring it into play here. To those who tuned in today, many, many thanks for joining forces with me. It's kind of fun to put this whole thing together. And really enjoyed it. And great exercise in putting some, again, tone paper is a tremendous surface to work with. I've always enjoyed it. A mid-engine. Yeah, it could be a mid-engine. You're right. But very subtle series of surfaces here to work with. And again, a real challenge. Again, you're always working north and south, highlight and shadow with these shooting brake series. Just kind of line that guy up. So there's a finished story here, guys. Again, thank you so much for being part of the process today. Very, very nice to have you on board. And again, can't thank you enough for the time. And if you have any questions or concerns about things that I can help you with, please feel free to contact me at my website at drcontrast.com. I'd be more than happy to come in and put together some programs for you to kind of look at and kind of deal with. Be just great fun to see how it all comes together. I'm so grateful again for the process of coming out together here. And go to my website at drcontrast.com. You'll find some very interesting things coming together. I've got an interesting drawing program there, 9 lessons. Very inexpensive. It takes you from perspective 1 and 2 all the way through some volumetric material. So I hope that'll be a help to you as well. And again, it's just any information that you have, for example, or concerns you might have, let me know if, at my website, at my email address, rather, is jim@drcontrast.com. Feel free to drop me a note. I'll be more than happy to help you if we put together a lesson plan for you. And before I go, there's an interesting occasion came up on my YouTube channel today. I got a question from a young lady, I believe it is. Her name was Itzel A. If you're watching today, or if you have watch it later on, as far as the stream is concerned, she made a very nice, kind remark about the stream program and what I did with the Porsche Targa 911. And her question was, do you ever do cars? I think it was, and I want to make sure clarify this. Do you ever do a car from zero? What I thought she meant by this, do you ever draw or put a lesson plan together to show you how to draw a car from ground level up, or how to put together the proportions? If you're listening to this stream and you get the information later on today, would you be kind enough to let me know, and I can work with you, and to drop me an email again at jim@drcontrast.com and clarify that for me, and we'll put together some pieces for you to hopefully help you through the process of developing an automobile car scratch from step one. All that to say that I think what I'm referring to there is, for future reference, I think I'm going to come back in and maybe start going back into some very fundamental thinking process, maybe some volumetric integration, some proportional work, things of that nature. So if that helps you in any way, shape, or form, please let me know. And again, thank you so much for being so kind here today in terms of watching me put this thing together. We're interested in the shooting brake series for Cadillac, Advanced Cadillac. Wish you all the very best. And again, drop me a note at jim@drcontrast.com. Visit my website. drcontrast.com, my email address, jim@drcontrast.com. Have fun. I hope you have a great day, and thanks again for tuning in. It's great to have you on board today, and I wish you all the very best. And I always finish the streams, everything I do, I finish with this very, very heartfelt, simple thing to deal with, and I really believe it with all my heart, and it's just very good to deal with. And I think it's a thinking process, but it really helps. Never forget to dare to be great, because you are. Terrific job, gang. Thanks very much today. Take care and all the very best. Thank you. Very, very good. So far, so good. I'm going to hit ending here, and we'll put this guy on mute. And